Great. Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a good start to your day or midday for some folks out there. Today, I'm super excited to be joining Caylee Augé. We're going to be talking about the concept of fear versus faith, how to get your mindset right, and how to really focus on that. So, Caylee has just joined. I'll get her to join us, and then we'll just hop into it. If you do have any questions too today, please use the chat and let us know. Caylee and I would be happy to answer any questions about really your mindset, getting focused on really what your goals are and how to really find tips and tricks to do so. Here we go. We'll get her to join us. Hello. How are you? Oh, I feel like your sound is a little bit quiet.
Let's see.
There, I hear you better now.
I think it's the stand is on the speaker. Is that better at all?
Yes, that's perfect.
That's okay?
Yes, that's great.
Okay,
Wonderful.
I won't touch it again then.
Awesome. How are you
nice
today?
To see you again.
Good.
It's really hot here. I'm like sweltering.
Really? Well, and
Yeah.
you're still in France, right?
Yeah, it's like the heat wave is continuing into September. So, but can't complain. How are you?
So good. Yeah, it's actually a hot day here as well, which is nice to get that last week before our kids start school next week. So it's good to kind of get that last little bit of summer in.
Awesome. Hello to everyone who's jumping on. Really excited about this topic. So do you want to introduce it and then we'll take it away?
Absolutely. Yes. So for those that are tuning in right now, we're kind of going around the concept of fear versus faith and really, you know, what does that even mean? One or the other. So I think, you know, if I'll kick this off on the concept of it, which is really when you're, you know, trying to accomplish something or you're trying to find success in your life or you want to, there's a mindset that you must tap into. And that's what Caylee and I are going to chat about today is that there's a mindset where you have to have faith versus fear. So fear mindsets will say, oh, I don't know, if I do this, then this might happen. That you might have the doubts or the insecurities that might come up with that mindset. Whereas with a faith-based mindset, it's no matter what happens, I'm okay with the outcome. I have faith that it is something I needed to learn in order to accomplish X, Y, Z. And so with those two mindsets, we've noticed that when we work with hundreds of different salon owners and successful salon owners, they all kind of have accomplished that mindset of focusing on the faith of their business instead of the fears inside their business. So I'd love to pass that mindset and fear-based selling and fear-based tactics. Can you kind of give us a little bit of, you know, your perspective on this topic of fear versus faith?
Yeah, sure. As soon as we kind of decided on the topic, the first thing that came to mind was years back, I was traveling to Switzerland and I was going there for a triathlon and I wanted to do something that would bring some adrenaline, like an adrenaline rush and something on my own traveling, kind of wanted to step out of my comfort zone. And so I signed up for this canyoning tour. And oh my gosh, it was, so they have the levels like beginner, advanced, intermediate. And I'm thinking like, this is a tourist trap. And so the beginners are for babies and the advanced is going to be like, whatever, you know, because usually the tourist things are really kind of, you know, I went on a water rafting thing and it was so not adventurous because they make it safe, right? They're always making it safe. So I chose the intermediate level. But this was like an adventure hub of Switzerland. So it was not a fake intermediate level. It was like a real intermediate level. So here I am kind of on this tour with these extreme jumpers. And I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm a little bit out. When they told us the height we would be jumping from, I had fear, like major fear. Because I'm like, oh, this is not just a touristy level thing. This is like people that really want to get an adrenaline rush. But I was already on the thing. And so we go, we jump, and it's what I'm thinking of, like fear versus faith, is like you just kind of have to jump because it's your only way to make it through. And what really stood out to me was some of the jumps you had to like run along the rock wall to then jump in the perfect spot to hit the pool of water so that you don't land on rock.
Oh my
And
goodness.
at that point, you have to just trust the system. Like you have to trust that it works and what the coach is telling you to do. And for me, I just take a deep breath and just do it the way they told me exactly without trying to hold back. Because as soon as you hold back, you're going to jump on the rock, right? So you got to give it everything. And so that was really like, by the end of the day, I was almost crying because there was so much adrenaline pumping through my body. And we got back in the van and they're like, do you want to go bungee jumping now? And I'm like, no, take me
No more.
But for me, that's fear versus faith. Like you're in, like we all feel fear as soon as we're out of our comfort zone. And so that was like an extreme adrenaline case, but we feel the same thing in our businesses when we're out of our comfort zone. And when you can have someone coaching you and you can get advice and then you just trust the process. And like you said too, you're just trusting, like the faith part for me is like just trusting God or whoever you believe in that it's going to work out for you. And, or even if it doesn't work out the way you thought it would, that it's going to work out in the way that serves you best in your life path. So that was the story that kind of came to mind for me.
It.
Yeah. How about you?
That instantly made me think is, I think the big thing in order to move from a fear-based mindset to a faith-based is what you trust. That's the only thing you need to do. And it's almost that last little bit of control. You're controlling not taking that jump, or controlling not raising your prices, controlling not, there's a fear that's controlling you from the opposite outcome you want. And if you lean into trust, you will lean into the faith-based side, and know that no matter what you do, you're going to get the outcomes that you're trying to go after. And so time and time again, I think I see this with the salon owners, specifically in the salon space, is that we are so feared that someone is going to think we charge too much, we don't know our numbers, we don't know our business, that we almost are creating more fear internally, that it is holding us back from trusting really, that no matter what happens, if I raise my prices and I lose a few people, who cares, So some of the things I think, in order to get more trust, what do you need to do to let go of control, lean into trust? The first thing I think you're going to need is facts. You're going to need some facts. Like you're going to need actual hard data or facts or numbers that will help ease the control, right? Because a business coach or a technology like what we offer, I think the big thing what you're going to get with that is clarity. And you'll get, more insights, so that like, if you know that raising your prices, you have, the likelihood of losing 10% of your, customer base, but your price increase ends up becoming higher than that 10% loss. If you know that number, that fact, you're probably going to not control the fear side and probably lean into the faith side, being like, well, whatever, if I lose those 10%, then that's fine, because you know it in facts. And so I think forever, the reason why us in the industry is because we didn't have anything there to help us with this, because we didn't have technology tools and coaches that are able to be just at our fingertips to help us with this information. And I know, you and I talked about this forever. It's like when we ran our salons, we didn't have an ounce of what's out there. Like there was no coaches. There was no one there to help me say like, yeah, you just another kilometer up and you're going to hit the peak, And that's why it's so important to let go of that control, and let go of like not trusting people who exist like a Caylee. And the more you let go of that control and lean into trust, you're going to have so much greater outcomes. Like you're going to be able to lean into that face side, or lean into that existence that you've always been wanting to, or holding yourself back from.
Totally. And I think salon owners are fearful of so many different things, right? Like they're fearful that their staff might leave. They're fearful that their product costs are going up, or that they might not be able to get their products. They're fearful of making change because somebody might get upset. So all of that fear is really like trapping them. And so, yeah, I love that you say, get the facts of what like, I love data. I'm like you, like, I love data because it never really fails you. Like, you have these ratios and this will happen if this happens. And it's just so dead on usually that you can't really go wrong. You know, I remember being the stylist and you know that you'd have like this weird empty week and you're like, oh my gosh, all my clients have left. Nobody likes me anymore. They're never coming back. And then the next week you're booked normal again. It's just like you start playing these like head trips. And same thing with your stylist, or like you change something and you're like, oh my gosh, they're all gonna walk out, they're gonna leave. So I guess it's mastering your mind chatter as well. So like getting data, mastering your mind chatter, having a coach that knows the way, that can tell you like, trust this process, it's going to work out for you. And then another thing I think is just doing, like we said that last week, right? Just doing, because why are you scared? You're scared of maybe an uncomfortable feeling. You're scared of a conflict. You're scared of an uncomfortable situation. And once you've had enough of them, you kind of become numb to the process. I remember when I was switching from being a salon owner to being an online teacher, I was terrified. I'm like, I don't know how to teach on these applications. I don't know how they work. I don't know anything. And I had a coach. It was Lauren Gartland from Inspiring Champions. And she's like, it's easy. You just pull up your slide, this, that, this. And I'm like, yeah, okay. How do I like control the chat while I'm talking? I didn't know how to do all that. And so I led my very first webinar from home and I got the kids out to school. I didn't put any makeup on. It was actually cold in my house. So I pulled on the turtleneck ski sweater. And I did my webinar and I thought I did a pretty good job. And as I closed the screen, I saw myself looking back at me. And the webinar was supposed to have no camera on. And then one of the people that was kind of hanging around in the end, I remember her name is Sherbert. She's still in all our courses. She goes, did you mean to have the camera on today? And I'm like, not at all.
Not at all.
So embarrassed. Like, oh my gosh, it's like when you start getting these embarrassing moments and then you're like, oh, I'm still alive. Oh, my work's still going on. Oh, I'm still growing. I'm still learning. You realize that there's not really that much out there that can really hurt you. And it's just these awkward moments and feelings that we're avoiding.
Oh, it's true. And I think like everything is like you're holding on to different energy, right? And I think when you have things that you're scared of or you're unsure of, it's heavy. It's like a holding on to like an invisible backpack filled with rocks, right? And you're carrying that fear every day. You come into work and you're like, are we going to be able to pay payroll this month? Are we going to be able to do this? Like, am I going to be like, so then you get these moments where a customer comes through, the day goes through, you transact, you're like, oh, I feel really good today. And it takes you to the lighter side, which is faith, because you're leaning into like, oh my gosh, like this is great, this is joyful, I see this stuff. And then you kind of shift back and forth. Things that are fear are heavy, things that are like joyful or light. And so there, again, when you find that kind of balance in the middle of trust and trusting that there is more faith-based days, like you can have that. And it just takes a little bit of practice and getting your mind right. That took me years. That took me so, and I still struggle sometimes. Like it's hard to stay in balance. Like everyone says, like, how do you stay in balance? Pretty hard to do because, you know, there's so many things that are coming at you. There's family, there's finances, there's your business, there's your fun. Like you yourself, you as a person need, you know, things too. And so because you're trying to balance a lot of these things all at the same time, it's pretty easy. Like that's why not every one of us can juggle, right? If we were all jugglers, I'm pretty sure we'd all be balanced in our lives, but that really does not happen. So there is going to be times that you're out of balance. So the only thing you need to know is to know what the sequence is, or what did you drop, right? And focus on one thing at a time. And I think most importantly, to give yourself a little bit of grace, because honestly, I beat myself up for years and years and years. I used to be like, you just don't know this. And I would get so almost like I would try and figure out an equation or figure out how to grow this or do this. And I would get so frustrated that I don't know this. And it's like, the thing I was upset about was things that were for an accountant or things for a lawyer or things for, why did I actually push myself so hard to think that I needed to know as much as someone that went to years of university for, you know? And so it's the gray side. Like you are a CEO, you're not a specialized lawyer. You're not a specialized CPA. You are a CEO of your company. And so I had to retrain my mind because I put so much pressure on myself that like, oh, you don't know, and people are going to judge you. People are going to think that you don't know your business. It's like, no, you do. You do. There's just people that need to join in on your party to help you, you know, become even better. And that trusting that others are not looking at you. Like when you hire a CPA or an accountant or a lawyer or, you know, any receptionist, help, a manager, when you hire people, they're not looking at you like you know nothing. They're looking at you like, thank you for this opportunity. Let me give you the gifts I have so I can enhance this whole, they want to be on the mission with you. And you need to trust that. You need to trust that people are actually want to be on your mission, and they like your mind, your vision, your heart, your soul. They love what you're up to, and they want to be a part of that energy. They don't come to you because you know math. That's the reality of it. And I think that is really important to kind of get your mind into that. I just went on a rant there.
No, I love it. I love it. It's so good. I love it when you rant, then you get the best stuff comes out. It's awesome. Well, and I love that you said like you still feel the fear. I actually think if I think back in my career, the only times I didn't feel fear was when I was in a role that I was very comfortable in. Like, you know, I've been doing hair for 10 years, and I could just do hair all day with my clients and never feel an ounce of fear. So I think that's the other thing. If you're thinking like, oh, I don't actually feel any fear, well, I would challenge you to get out of your comfort zone then, because
Yes.
it's not about, this conversation is not about never feeling fear. It's like feeling fear and doing it anyway. And then here's the steps to do it anyway is collect the data, like find out what facts are about your situation, have that faith and trust to move forward. And then I think the third on that would be take action, because that's what moves you into faith. Because you could be like, yeah, okay, I trust, but you're not doing anything. So it's like the data will help you figure out what's the next action. The faith and trust will help you like take that jump and that leap of faith. And then the actual action taking is what builds that muscle so that you can, you know, that will become your new comfort zone. And then you can go to new levels, and that will become your new comfort zone. And so it's like every single time you're like, oh, I haven't felt fear in a while. Oh, maybe it's time to push myself.
Exactly. You know, and I think you're so right. It's that next step, that next jump, that like constantly moving forward that is going to challenge you, and you're going to want to give up, and you're going to want to stop, and you're going to feel burnout, and you're going to feel stressed. There's times where you do need to rest for sure. But there's a reason why you chose that path. And, you know, I think we all are just trying so hard to bring the internal out. And so whatever internally drives you, whatever that thing is that's so deep within yourself of like what you want to accomplish, it will happen if you stop trying to control it and just believe in yourself and lean into more trust, lean into the trusting of others that will be there, because that will help you get more actions, right? Having someone right there with you being like, oh no, like it's just 4 more steps, it's 6 more steps. Just like you were saying, which is actions speak louder than words, right? And how many words go on in your head every day?
All things work for good for you, right?
They
all
do.
Things are like working for your good, even if you can't see it in the moment. And if you can come from like a fundamental place of knowing that, that can help you take those actions as well.
Yeah, and like I think it's really important to also, the last thing I would add on there is inspiration. So if you are feeling like your, you know, your acceleration, like your steps forward is more like more horizontal, and you're moving forward and things are happening, but it's just a little bit more like bland, let's say, then that means we need to like find what else did someone else do that I want to get to the next stage. That will inspire me to the next stage. And that inspiration is going to help you, you know, get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable and, you know, create actions, move through those, trust in, get yourself through that, and have more challenges in your life. You know, I think that's just kind of what will happen. But I think it's so important to look at others as inspiration, not competition. And how do you get inspired by someone in your same, you know, same industry, same place? Maybe they're only, you know, 20 years. It just find that pace so that you can consistently grow. I think that's another way to kind of help keep yourself on that like focus of where you really want to go.
Awesome. Love that. And I would just add to that, that if you are in that place where you're kind of like, no, I got this, I'm good, then look to serve others, right? Because you're going to be your next level when you can now take, like, if you feel solid and you feel confident, then how can you help someone else who maybe doesn't? And that's,
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Your effects, right? Because some people do get to this point where they're just like, well, I don't really want to go there, and I'm kind of good here, and I'm good hanging out here. Okay, well, why not like pull someone else up to your level with you?
Right. I absolutely love that. We had a message here came in from Kelly just about great points to take a leap, which is important. How can I learn what SalonScale can provide? Hard data. Thanks. So Kelly, I'll message you right after this and we can have a conversation really on the benefits of SalonScale on the data side. And happy to help you with the information that we can definitely give for you. We'll reach out to you after that. But yeah, I think, I think the big thing too is leaning into this kind of mindset of like jumping and going for it and trusting that things will happen is really like even to how I met you. And I think for me and you, like it just keeps getting better. And every time I get to chat with you and connect with you, it's like we're serving. And I love that you just said that, which is like we have the same purpose of serving. And because of that, you can help others rise. And then I always grow. Every time I talk to you, I'm like, oh, I'm thinking more and more and more. And that's why it's so important to be around as many people that like inspire you and push you to get to those next steps, to believe in yourself. Like you have something that people want to kind of connect with.
Totally. Love it.
Love that.
Like,
so as we kind of wrap things up here, Caylee, I'd love your final thoughts today on just this like fear versus faith, or wrapping up kind of our conversation today for those that are just kind of popping in right now or will watch this later. If you want to take it away, go right ahead.
Sure. So the topic today was fear versus faith. So how to step out of fear into faith. And through our chat here, we kind of came up with some steps. So the steps that we came up with, we have to document this somewhere because this could be
right. I've been writing it down.
Data and find out facts about what it is you're facing. Find somebody who's been there, done that, that can believe in you, that can help you, like you can borrow their faith. And then how do you step into faith? Well, the best way to step into faith is to trust the process. So if you've got that facts of what your chances are, if you've got that person that's like, yeah, do it, cheering you on, be careful who you ask for sure. Like make sure they've done what you want to do, or they've got experience helping others. And then you're going to step into your faith by trust and by action. So trusting that all things work for good for you, trusting that whatever the outcome is, even if the outcome isn't what you intended, it's going to be something awesome. And it might even be better than what you intended. And then we said, after that, if you're kind of like in a place where you're like, I'm good, well, serve others and help others get there. Because there's a lot of people living in fear. There's a lot of salon owners living in fear, just because of the way the business model is. So if you've got this, help someone else. And I think that summarizes it. Did I miss anything?
I was like, this is good. I wrote all the steps down. But it is, this is why I love working with you. I think that's exactly the steps. I absolutely think that will help. And it's just a really great, a great thing to kind of wrap your head around, to really bust through and build yourself the life you've always dreamed of. So with that, I just want to thank you again, Caylee, for your time today. And for those that are tuning in now and or watching this later, we are going to be coming again live next week. So stay tuned for that. We'll post that again. And if there's any topics or anything that you would like to hear about from us specifically, just go ahead and DM us, message us. We'd be happy to, include it in some of these lives. We can go a little bit more narrow or deeper into certain topics. But really, like, Caylee said, is we're here to serve you. We're here to elevate the industry and help empower, elevate, and educate each and every one of you. So with that, again, thanks so much for your time today, Caylee, and I'm excited to see you next week.
Can I add one more little challenge
yes.
to that? If there's an action that you took as a result of this little boost of inspiration today, just send us, what that was and what the outcome was. We love hearing your stories. So
yes, let us know.
Yeah,
Love it.
Awesome.
Love it.
Thanks for
Okay, well,
being. Always
enjoy the heat.
next week.
Enjoy the heat. All right.
Bye,
Take care.
everyone. Thanks for jumping
Bye.
on today.